This episode sponsored by Lake Monster Details, producing the Don's Light and Magic Legacy line of parts, offering upgrade parts and decals for accuracy, special effects, and lighting. Visit www.lakemonsterdetails.com and make it glow. Also sponsored by GCals, producing aftermarket replacement decals and custom quality graphics for your favorite spaceships. Visit www.gcals.company.site and add some personalization to your sci-fi models today. Also sponsored by Mask Design, boldly going where no masking kit has gone before. Take your model to the next level of detail and accuracy with a masking kit from Mask Design. Visit Mask Design on Facebook or click the ordering link in the notes below the video. Hey, what's up, fellow modelers? Will here. Welcome to the Engine's Chair. So this is going to be a brief episode. I'm basically just going to introduce the masks from Mask Design that I'm going to start working on and give you kind of an idea of how these are working out. I'm going to do some painting and give you any recommendations if I come across anything while I'm working on these, any issues I may run into or that I'll point out to you, so that way when you go to build this, you have an idea to look out for that when you start following. Again, I want to recommend, I did this with the Grissom build, recommend that you use the video paint guide that Gary has up on YouTube on his channel. The links for that are going to be in the notes below. And also make sure you follow those printed instructions, that PDF instruction file, because there may be some stuff that maybe you don't catch in the video that will be spelled out for you in those instructions. So make sure you're following both of those. In addition, like I said, in this episode, I'm going to kind of point out any issues I run into, anything noteworthy to keep an eye out for. But this will be a very short episode. So give me a minute. I'll put you on the bench. We'll get to work. All right, so I've got the first coat of red on here for the Mask Design masking kit for the Kronos one. And just like I stated at the end of the last video, I highly recommend that you do a double batch of the red. That way you've got enough to do both wings on top, and then maybe do another batch for the bottom. But I just didn't want to do two different batches and have a chance that the shade is a little bit different on one side. So that's what I did. It's up to you how you want to do it, but that's my recommendation. I do want to say that Gary did add some masks to this kit after the first round of kits were sent out. So if you got one of the first rounds of kits, you should have gotten these supplementals, and I think these go to the under the bulb there at the front under the bridge. But he did this at no extra charge. He made these up, and then he sent them out to everybody that had already gotten their kits. And I'm just going to put these down here and add them to the rest of them that I've already got. But that was really cool of Gary to do. He didn't have to do that, but he stands behind his product, and that's why I'm glad to have him as a sponsor. But I'm ready to do these masks. I'm going to start applying these. I'm not going to do a step-by-step, because if you want a step-by-step, Gary does a much better job than I do of explaining these and applying these, and especially if you're new to masking and painting. He does a little bit of a tutorial on it. So make sure you watch his video. I'll put the link in the notes below this video for step one. But I'm going to get these applied for the first step, and we'll come back and take a look. All right, so I've got the one side masked off. I'm going to do this side by side because I really don't want to start both sides. Personally, I don't want to start both sides and not be able to finish. So I think if I do one side, I can finish one side completely. And you don't really have, I mean, you've got this big open space here, so it's not like you got to mask this off and then, you know, do half. Unlike the underside, I think I'm going to need to do the underside all in one shot. But the top I can kind of break it down easy. I don't have a lot of time today to work on it, and I want to get at least one side done because I don't like leaving the masks on for extended periods of time. So I've got this all masked off. I've got my tan mixed up and ready to go per the instructions in the guide. So I'm going to go put my tan on here. And again, just to mention, I did a double batch of this. That way I've got the same batch to use for both sides. So I just wanted to point that out. So I'm going to get this blown on here and we'll come back and take a look. All right, so I've got that tan on and I went ahead and put on the next step masks. It's not really look at with the tan paint. It's it's on there. These masks, they're going on. They fit these spots perfectly. If you get them lined up on one end, for me, they're basically just falling into place from there. So you just pick a corner, work from it, and lay the mask down. And if it doesn't lay down exactly, you can move it around a little bit. I will say that this pair of magnifying glasses that I've had for probably 2 years now. I actually have a second pair of these now just in case I need them. But these work great. They're great to use for doing this because you can see those corners real good. And either that or a magnifying glass, which I've got one of those too, but I tend to use these more because they just work better. They've got a light on the end of them. You can pick these up off of Amazon. They're not too expensive. But they worked out really well. A nice pair of tweezers too will go a long way to helping getting these in place. The only thing I'll say about this stage is masks. So you're going to put these masks on up here. This long one back here goes in place, and then this long one here, and then all these little ones go on. Just be careful of these two here, this one and this one, because this one is actually two separate pieces. This one is not. Mine, as far as I know, I guess it looks like it's supposed to be this way. This one's actually one piece, this larger part in this corner here. This one was two pieces. So when I put this one on, it's fine. This one, when I went to pick it up, I almost ripped it because I was expecting this to be two pieces as well. I wasn't really noticing that there wasn't a division line here. So just be careful. I could see somebody ripping it and then distorting the mask. Just be careful when you do this one. So this one's two pieces. This one is one whole piece. So be careful when you lift this one up that you don't rip it. But so I've got all these masks in place, and I believe our next step is to put the dark gray on. So I'm going to do that, and we'll come back and take a look again. All right, guys, moving right along. I skipped ahead a little bit here. I didn't really have anything to point out with the gray. Once I put that on, you put these row of masks here on, these two, and then these two. But I almost missed. After I sprayed my gray, I noticed that I was missing this mask. I never put it on, or actually, I'm sorry, this one. This one here I forgot to put on. So I had to go back, put a little tan back in my airbrush, brush this again, and then put the mask on. And but that's fine. I'm glad I caught it when I did. Another step too, when I went to paint this white gray, I painted it on, I did this mask, and then I came back and I noticed I'd never painted this area up here, which you've got to mask off as well, which is supposed to be white, the white gray. So make sure you don't forget to paint this area up here like I did, because then I had to go back after I'd already cleaned my airbrush and put more white gray in it and then clean my airbrush again. So just created more work for myself, but no big deal. Again, something I'm glad I caught then, rather than later, and have to do a little more work to get it done. So I've got that done. I'm going to finish masking this section off, and we'll come back and take a look at it right before I put that final coat on. All right, so I've got this masked off, ready to go, put the final coat on. We're going to do the light gray, which I've got mixed up in this cup here, and we'll come back and take a look at the final product, take all these masks off, and see what we got. All right, so here we are. Moment of truth. We get to pull everything off and see how this whole thing turned out. And hopefully, fingers crossed, no paint peel on this. But I'm not going to sit here and pull this whole thing off. I just want to pull a little bit off on camera just so we can take a look and see how this is turning out. You can grit your teeth along with me while I pull these off. Or say a prayer for me. Either way, prayers are welcome at this point. You know, those tweezers just don't do very well grabbing stuff like that. Let's see if we can pull off maybe these right here. Let's see what we got underneath. So there's our red, which was the first color I put on. Yep, I did have a little bit of underspray on that one, but that's an easy touch up there. So pull one of these off. Oh, that turned out nice. Yep, I had something there because I had a little bit of paint come up right there, but again, that's an easy touch up. Nothing on that one. All right. Okay, everything's looking pretty good so far, guys. As long as the majority of these shapes came out, this little bit of white that bled under right there, probably because I sprayed it at an angle, or I might have put a little bit too much on at one time rather than letting it dry a little bit first. But so far that's the only one that's done that. All right, it's looking pretty. Let's pull one of these dark grays off and see how this dark gray turned out. If I can find a loose corner here where I can get up under it, is preferable to trying to pluck this and risk scratching the paint. There we go. That one had a nice loose corner on it. All right, so far colors are looking really good. They turned out real nice. I'm going to go ahead and pull the rest of these off. I'm not going to sit here and do them all on camera. I'll pull this all off and we'll come back and take a look at the final result. Just a real quick correction. That actually wasn't paint peel, paint lift, because this is the mask under that was still down. So no paint peel, no paint lift at all so far. I just got this one little bleed under area where I didn't have the mask quite down all the way. But other than that, everything is turning out spectacular. All right. But I just wanted to update that and correct that. That was not paint lift. The mask was still on there. So once I pulled that mask off, it was perfect. I've just got to deal with this one little bleed area so far. So let me pull some more of this off and we'll come back. All right, so here it is, fully unmasked. You can see how it turned out. Turned out gorgeous, if I do say so myself. Mainly because of Gary's mask, not because of my skills. Let me focus this for you a little bit. I only really had two areas which were because of me. I didn't make sure the mask was fully seated. I've got a little bit of where the paint got under the mask along this edge right here, and a little bit right here. Both of them are when I did the white, painted the white gray. I got a little bit get under the edge here and a little bit here, so that's an easy fix. I'll just put a piece of masking tape here, mask this back off enough to get a little bit of paint on here just to touch that up. But I love it. I think this is going to look awesome once it's done. So it's pretty much a rinse and repeat on this side. So I'm not really going to go into to doing this again on this side. But I will give any updates once I start on the bottom. Like I said, I think I'm going to have to do this in one step, so I'm going to need a full day open, which will probably be next week sometime before I can really get into doing this side. But over the next couple days, I'm going to finish this side here, and then I'll come back and we will start working on this side. So with that being said, this is going to be kind of a short episode, but it's going to take me a couple days to do all that. Most of my assembly work is done already. I've got to I got to finish this. Yep, yeah, great. I got to finish this part and getting this assembled. The neck and the lower bulb is done already, like I showed. That's already to be painted. And I've got to do the box, where the shuttle bay and I forget what they call that thing, where you got the grills in the front. I've got to do that yet. So I'm going to be working on that, and I'll put that in the next video. But this is pretty much, I think, going to be it for this video. Just basically wanted to show the masking process with the mask design masks and what this can look like once you get it done. It's turning out great. Long way to go yet, so I will cover some more painting in future videos, but I think this is a good stopping point for right now. And like I said, it's going to be a couple days before I can get anything else done, so I don't want to be 2 or 3 weeks putting anything else out. But appreciate everybody that's been watching these videos. Thank you to all the new subscribers. I hope you find this information useful. Maybe you were trying to decide whether or not to invest in a set of these masks, and I think for the price that Gary is asking, you can't get a better set of masks, in my opinion. So take it or leave it, but I think it's a great product. But I'll be covering more of this in the future. Still got a long way to go on this. Probably at least, I can see probably at least another 4 or 5 episodes to finish out this build. So please keep tuning in. If you haven't subscribed already, please consider hitting that subscribe button down below. It doesn't cost you a thing, but it helps me out tremendously. And if you hit that bell icon, if you're interested in seeing the future steps with these masks or the future steps with the build in general, hit that little bell icon. Every time I put out an updated video, you will get a notification on it, and that way you can keep up with the build. But again, thank you to everybody for subscribing. As always, I'd like to give a shout out to my sponsors, Cass over at Lake Monster Details, Gus over at G-Cows, and Gary at Mask Design, whose gorgeous masks I am using to complete this project. Please visit their Facebook page. Gary only has a Facebook page right now, but Gus and Cass both have websites, and the links for all of those you can find, and ordering form for these masks you can always find in the notes below. Thank you again. Till next time, keep modeling.